Hey, this is Mr. Moser. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about publishing feature services and creating story maps with both Arc Desktop and ArcGIS Online. Your deliverable for your Houston project is actually creating an online story map. So what we did was, with your midterm, you had to create a PowerPoint presentation. For the Springfield project, you had to create a big 24 by 36 layout. And now for the Houston project, you need to create an online story map. All three of those elements are going to be things you're going to have to do for your final JMU project. So again, this is the law enforcement decisions project with the Houston, Texas crime analysis project. So the expectations and what your deliverables need to be for your online story map. So here's your online story map. First thing you're going to do is you're going to create a main stage or a main page, which will consist of a published map that has your multiple ring buffers, the police stations, and the police station crimes layer. After that, you're going to do a number of different pages of your kernel density maps. So you'll have a page that has aggravated assault kernel densities. You'll have a page that has burglary kernel densities. You'll have a page that has narcotics kernel densities. Then you're going to do 4 separate pages, each showing the different time of day maps for auto thefts. So you'll have one that's between midnight and 5 a.m., etc., and they're broken up there by hour. And then finally, the last page you're going to do is you're going to do a drug-free school zone analysis map with the narcotics kernel density included. The very last page of the project in the Making Spatial Decisions book talks about going further and actually doing a little bit of an analysis of what's known as this drug-free school zone. Within 1,000 feet of any school is considered a drug-free zone, and any narcotics crimes that actually take place within those zones actually wind up being adjudicated a little bit more harshly. So we're going to do an analysis there to kind of find out what the top 10 schools are that actually have a large number of narcotics-related crimes within that 100-foot boundary, that 100-foot buffer. So let's take a look at ArcMap. And what I've got here is I have my main page Houston map up. It's going to be a nice base map for my story map. Now notice I don't have any reference behind it. That's okay, because when you use Arc Online, the base maps that are provided and that are put in there for you are going to take care of that. So what I've got here is I've got my police station shapefile, I've got my multiple ring buffer, and then I've got my Houston, Texas shapefile. Notice I don't have the shapefile that I'm able to symbolize with the vertical bars. We're going to take care of that when we get into Arc Online. We're not going to be able to use vertical bars. We're going to wind up using graduated symbols, but it's not that big of a deal. So in order to get this onto ArcGIS Online, what you need to do is you need to make sure that you have this MXD saved, and we're going to go ahead and go to File, and you're going to go to Share As, and you're going to share it as a service. You're going to publish a service. It's going to go to My Hosted Services, Briarwoods High School GIS. It's going to be called Main Page Houston. Continue. Oh, whoops. It already exists, so I'll call it 2. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to Capabilities here. Since we don't have any kernel densities or any rasters in here, we don't need to do tiled mapping. So what you want to do is click on Feature Access and then uncheck tiled mapping. When you start publishing your kernel densities, however, you're going to want to tile those. We're going to go to Item Description. I've already put in a summary. It's a Houston, Texas crime analysis project. It's the story map main page. You can choose your tags. These are tags that I've used in the past, but you always want to make sure you have BWHS in there, and since this is a Making Spatial Decisions project, you want to go ahead and do that. Once you do that, go ahead and click Analyze, and this window will come up. The only thing that you really have to worry about is if you get any of these big red X's. The exclamation points really don't matter. So we're good to go in terms of publishing. So what I would go ahead and do then is I would then go ahead and click Publish. I've already done this, so what I'm going to do is after clicking Publish, you would go through a little bit of time and it would actually tell you, hey, you've published this feature service layer on ArcGIS Online. So then what you're going to do is you'll go to arcgis.com, and you'll sign in. And it'll come up to my organization, and you want to go to my content. The content that I published was called Main Page Houston. And you'll notice I've got a web map, I've got a service definition, I've got a feature layer, and then I've got a web mapping application. What you'll have after you publish will be a feature layer and a service definition. What you want to do with this feature layer is you're going to go ahead and bring this arrow down next to it, and you're going to say Add Layer to New Map. Once you do that, here I have the city limits, I've got the multiple ring buffers, and I've got the police stations inside. I'm going to go back to my content, and there is a feature layer that I published for you guys that I'm going to share. It's shared with everyone in the organization, called police_station_crimes. You want to go ahead and add that layer to the map as well. That layer right there, this is what is replacing the bar graphs. So we're going to move that all the way up to the top. So you see we've got graduated symbols. The larger the symbol, so we look at this symbol, the larger the symbol, the more crimes that were associated with that police station. So make sure you have all of Houston in your window. And when you do, this right here, we might want to take care of this. This says Paul Stay Crimes. Let's bring this down and we'll rename it. We'll call it Police Station Crimes. Click OK. Now, in order to create a story map out of this, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to save it. So we'll do a save. All right, and we'll do a save as. And we'll do main page Houston crime. Again, your tags, BWHS, making spatial decisions. And the folder you want to save it in is you want to save it in your folder. Okay, so we'll go ahead and save map. After you're done saving that, we're going to go up here to home and go to my content. And I just did this web map for main page Houston crime. So now I want to go up here and I want to create an app, and I want to use a template. So under my content, create app, use a template. The web mapping application that you want is actually located on page 4. You want this one, the Story Map Journal. So we'll click it, click Next. Title, you'll put your title in here, but it can be, Houston, Texas, crime analysis. Again, your tags, BWHS, making spatial decisions. And we're done. So we'll wind up creating this map journal. You want a floating panel. We'll click Start. And then after that, let's go up here to Settings. And we want the floating panel. Let's go to Layout Options. And we want a small floating panel. We want the main stage to be much larger. If you'd like your floating panel to be over here on the left, you can do that. If you want it on the right, that's fine. Okay. Everything else here is good, so go ahead and click Apply. What do you want to call your map journal? Houston, Texas, Crime Analysis, August 2006. Let me click Next. So here's your main stage, here's your floating panel. And what do we want as our main stage content? Well, we want a map. We're going to select a web map. We'll bring this down and we'll browse for maps, and it's going to show up in your content and what your maps are. So, whichever one it was that you just uploaded, main page Houston crime, which is what I just uploaded. Let's go ahead and include the legend, and we'll click Next. The next thing is what are we going to put inside this floating panel? So we'll say base map of Houston, Texas. Depicting police station locations, distance rings from each police station, and number of crimes per police station. And then we'll put August 2006, period. And then we'll add. So now what we've got is, here's our map. This is the first page of the map. We've got our multiple ring buffers. We have our police stations. We've got our number of crimes. Here we can zoom in if we want. We can zoom back out. And once this is published and completed, your viewers will actually be able to change the base map if they want. If you don't like this base map before you publish this, you got to make sure that you go into your ArcGIS online map and change the base map there. So anytime you publish a new page or you do a new page in this story map, you always want to make sure you go up here to the upper right and save it. Here you can say, all right, how do I get back to this builder interface? Here's a little tiny URL for you, but it's always going to be in your ArcGIS online content folder. So we'll go ahead and click close there. Now what you're going to do is you're going to do another page. You're going to add a section. And the section that you're going to add is aggravated assault density map. So we're going to browse for our online maps, and by this time you will have gone through the steps before that I showed you to publish your density maps. So here's Houston, Texas aggravated assault. Got my legend. We'll go next. Okay. Density map showing concentrations of aggravated assault crimes in Houston, Texas, August 2006. And we click add. And there's that map. And we hit save. All right. So you'll continue to do this, and then once you finish it all, then it's going to be a matter of just publishing it and actually making it live. And those applications, by viewing it live, it's not available until we actually share it. And you're going to wind up sharing it when you get to your content area. So I go to my content, and I'm looking for these web mapping applications. And I go here and I'll go to view item details. This is once I'm all finished. Okay, then you're going to share it. And you'll share it with, you can share it with everyone you want. Okay, so it's actually available to the public at large. And then you click OK. And then you'd actually be able to view a live web mapping application while you're building it. So once you share it, I mean, you can actually share from here too. Once you share it, you'll actually be able to view it live and see what it would look like if you pulled it up on the web itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to create a new video as talking about the drug-free school zone and how you would go about setting that up. But if you have any questions, you can certainly ask me. You can ask Mr. Smith if you're in Mr. Smith's class. Good luck. Have fun.